Hi everybody, welcome to our video on the xylem and phloem. Describe current theories about processes responsible for the movement of materials through the plants in the xylem and phloem tissue. Today we will be talking about the materials, structures and processes involved in the transportation mechanisms in the xylem and phloem. But what are the xylem and phloem? The xylem is hollow, continuous vascular tissue that is responsible for the movement of water and minerals within a plant. It is not living, composed of overlapping tubes which have pits to allow water and solids to pass through, and helps to form the woody element of the stem with a lignin in their walls. Here the lignin is represented by yellow, the water molecules are blue circles, and the solutes are red dots. The phloem, however, is living and transports sugars in the plant. It is composed of elongated sieve cells with sieve plates between them, forming a tube with cytoplasm and few organelles, and has companion cells to provide metabolic functions. Here sugars are shown as orange triangles and companion cells are pictured on the right. How does the water move in the xylem? As xylem cells are not living, passive processes are responsible for the upward movement of water and minerals. A current theory for this is the process called the cohesion-tension theory, and this is how it works. It starts with the passive uptake of water and both passive and active transport of minerals after being absorbed in the root hairs through the cortex of the root of the plant. Once in the root, the water molecules stick together within a continuous network of liquid columns. This is called cohesion. Through the process of adhesion, the water molecules stick to the walls of the xylem so that when evaporation, the pulling force of the water chain stops, the water doesn't fall down the plant when the leaves are not transpiring. When the leaves are transpiring, however, water molecules leave the plant through the stomata of the leaves. This creates the pull-like motion on the chain, creating the transpiration stream and transport water around the plant. How are the sugars transported in the phloem? The current theory for how sugars move in the phloem is called translocation, which can sometimes be referred to as the pressure flow theory or the source to the sink theory. It starts with the making of the sugars and actively loading these sugars from one end, the source, into the phloem, and then actively unloading them into the other end of the plant, the sink. This can be confusing, but breaking it down into 3 steps makes things a little easier. First step, loading out the source. There are 2 theories for how this occurs. The first is symplastic loading, here in purple. This is where the sugars move into the cytoplasm from the mesophyll cells to the sieve elements through the plasmodesmata. These are small holes in the cell walls that allow materials to pass through. The other theory, apoplastic loading, shown in pink, states that the sugars and the organic materials move along the pathway through the cells until they reach the sieve element. For example, the grey mangrove and the Sydney bluegum use symplastic loading, while the Australian oak uses both symplastic and apoplastic loading. From there, they then move across the cell membrane to enter the phloem tube. The second step, pressure flow. When loading occurs, water osmotically follows and creates a hydrostatic pressure gradient. The difference in osmotic pressure between the source and sink in the phloem drives the phloem sap to flow towards the sink. The direction of the flow is determined by the location of the sink in relation to the source. This means that material in the phloem is not always moving in the same direction. The third step, offloading at the sink. Once at the sink, which may be the growing tips of the roots, flowers, or shoots of the plant, the sugars move into the sink via active transport. As the sugars move out of the phloem, water is drawn out with them via osmosis. This lowers the pressure within the phloem, causing the flow of sugars to that sink to decrease. Thank you for watching our video on transportation mechanisms in plants. We hope you now have a better understanding of the xylem and phloem.